Good afternoon, everyone. We're from Group 2A. My name is Faza, and here's my friend, Mega and Priska. We are here to present you our essay about LGBT as a part of cultural diversity in multinational company. Without any further ado, let's get started. Cultural diversity is existence of variety of cultural group within a society. Cultural group can share many different characteristics such as culture, region, nationality, language, gender, sexual orientation, and etc. An organization can have one or even more culture in it. In that cultural diversity that becomes one in organization, it must be able to handle cultural diversity and how they can change the diversity to their advantage. One of example of cultural diversity from different parts of the world is LGBT community, where they are the one part of a society that is still the pros and cons of the world. This due to the differences in perspective and culture of each individual.
Introduction of Unilever. Unilever is a multinational company headquartered in Rotterdam, Netherlands, under the name Unilever NV, and London, England, under the name Unilever plc. Unilever manufactures food, beverage, cleansers, as well as body care. Unilever is the world's third largest producer of household goods in terms of revenue in 2012, behind P&G and Nestle. Unilever is one of the world's oldest operating companies and currently sells its product to more than 190 countries.
In its work culture, Unilever has the view that business is an environment where work is an activity and not just a place to work. Unilever, therefore, creates a pleasant work environment and allows the work and list of its employees to run in provide excellent input for Unilever companies.
The introduction of Indonesian culture in general. Indonesia has a national motto named Bhinneka Tunggal Ika, which means different but still one. The motto symbolizes that although there's a lot of diversity in Indonesia, the people are still one mind and heart. The diversity in Indonesia includes culture, ethnicity, region, and linguistic. Religion plays a very important role in Indonesian society and in their daily life of Indonesian people. Therefore, values, morals, and ethics originating from religion, tradition, and culture are important things that affect the cognition of Indonesian nation.
Based on the results of the comparison using the 6D model from Hofstede's Insight, Indonesia has a score of 38 in the indulgence dimension. The low score of 38 on this dimension indicates that Indonesia has a cultural restraint. Low-scoring societies in this dimension have a tendency to be cynical and pessimistic. People of this orientation have a perception that their actions are limited by social norms, so that they try not to violate the boundaries that have been created by those social norms. By the same method, when compared to the UK, where Unilever comes from, which has a high score of 69 points, this indicates that British culture is one of the countries classified as indulgent. People in these communities that are classified with high scores in indulgence generally show a willingness to realize their urge and desire with respect to enjoying life and having fun. They have a positive attitude and tend to be optimistic. Because they have the orientation to act as they please as a form from enjoying life, social norms are not so influential in their lives.
The introduction of LGBT. LGBT is an acronym for term lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender into the varied sexual orientation and sexual identities outside of the sex and the gender orientation commonly established in heterosexual and cisgender societies. With the LGBT community being part of the society, it will certainly that culture change of the existing society.
LGBT and Indonesian society. In Indonesia, many opponents of LGBTQ from across religions, across political ideologies, and even across social classes. As research by the Saiful Mujani Research Center, Survey Institute, the research conduct during 2019 to 2017 found that 58.3% of Indonesians had heard of LGBT. Of the respondents who know about LGBT, 41.1% of them state LGBT have no right to live in Indonesia. In Indonesia, LGBT become the target of hatred, bullying, victims of rape, persecution, and etc. As one of the countries with the largest Muslim population in the world, it is also a cause of LGBT people are less accepted in Indonesia because people consider it incompatible with religious teachings.
Got a lot of critics from the nation society. Our company, Unilever Global, wrote in its gay, bisexual, transgender, questioning, and this statement was uploaded on June 20 in 2022 and includes a full color image of Unilever logo. In this upload, Unilever openly supports the LGBTQI movement. There are those who support it, but there are also many disappointments for support, especially netizens who come from Indonesia. Not a few expressed it by calling for a
Unilever Indonesia strive to respect the culture and norms that exist in Indonesia. Even though Unilever Global states that they support the LGBTI movement, Unilever states that they will continue to act and deliver messages that match with Indonesian culture.
In Chapter 12 has examined how managers in multinational companies can best deal with cultural diversity and do so to the benefit the company. Learn to examine how managers can deal with cultural diversity and how they can turn this diversity to their advantage. Like a Unilever company that integrates and adapts to Indonesian culture, Unilever supports LGBT, but Indonesia does not. Unilever Indonesia clarified that only Unilever abroad supports it, while Unilever Indonesia does not support LGBT. And in Chapter 12, when working with a culturally diverse workforce, manager must take into account the values and associated norms inherent in the cultures involved, particularly when it comes to ethical issues. Ethical values as depicted in the work of many cross-cultural researchers can be compared and may assist the international managers when deciding on the implementation of a particular business practice. Unilever adapts to Indonesian culture to get value. When Indonesia found out that Unilever support LGBT, Indonesia immediately planned to boycott all Unilever products. If Unilever continues to maintain its own organizational control, Unilever may lose out in Indonesia.
The conclusion: Unilever Global support the lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, and intersex community. This triggered a negative response from the Indonesian people. In fact, a number of netizens threatened to boycott Unilever products. The Indonesian people are disappointed because it's considered not in accordance with the norms that apply in Indonesia. In response to this, PT Unilever Indonesia TBK emphasized that it still upholds diversity and an inclusive environment. This is because Unilever is a company that always gives the high appreciation to the culture, norms, and values of the countries where they operate, including Indonesia. If it's related to Chapter 12, Unilever companies have implemented a tolerance for cultural differences in their organization. Unilever can overcome existing cultural differences by integrating and adapting to Indonesian norms. Unilever can address cultural diversity and how they can convert this diversity to their values. If you have the wrong attitude, it can trigger a split due to someone being offended or being feeling different because they don't have harmonization in these cultural differences and can cause losses to the company. Our presentation. Sorry if there's any mistake or misspelling. Thank you.